I'm going to read from my paper so I don't ramble on. I want to thank everyone for coming and supporting New Beginnings. Let me give you a brief summary of me. As a child, I felt abandoned. When my mom went to prison, I jumped from house to house. I never really felt loved or wanted. When I was 17, I moved out to meet my high school sweetheart, Cody. He was a football player and all-American man. At the time, he made me feel loved. For once in my life, I got married and had 3 children. I gave him my all. I finally felt loved. Mind you, I gave him my all. Mind you, we were on drugs off and on. I would be the one who stayed home with the kids, and he would be the one who left all the time, drinking and just partying. He cheated on me the whole 15 years we were married. I was feeling the same way again as a child, not loved and abandoned. But I would keep forgiving him because I was scared to be alone. Good Lord. And I thought I could change him for my children. I would continue to put on a front to everyone around me and keep numbing myself. I would pray to the Lord, help me, over and over again to save me. But I just didn't know how to be saved until one day I finally had enough. I asked for a divorce. I could not stand for what was going on anymore. So we moved back to our hometown. We were separated. So when we separated, I went on a spiral downfall. I got with another man and thought that was my love. That was a mistake. I didn't realize I had walked into a drug house with my kids. I was out partying all night and my kids were sleeping, and I thought that was okay. And so I kept continuing numbing myself and not facing my past. One day, my ex did take my kids from me, and I pretty much lost it. I continued to party, but party harder. I was so far that I didn't know how to get out. So one night, I thought it was any other normal night. Well, I got arrested and went to jail and stayed for 1 month. That month, I slept. I don't believe I had slept in years. When I was in, I promised myself I would change. I prayed to the Lord to please help me. So when I got out, I was so depressed from not having my kids, from being in jail, to just being overwhelmed. Mind you, I was only out a week. So one night, I had it set that I was going to get some heroin and do as much as I could and be done with life. So I pulled up to a house. Mind you, I'm in the same town that I got arrested the first time by the same cop. I pulled into the driveway wait a minute. Before I pulled into that driveway, I prayed to God and I said, God, if this is your will, you will save me. So I pulled into this lady's driveway, the person where I was going to get the drugs. The cop pulls up behind me, and I get out, and I'm like, what are you doing? He's like, I need to search your car. And he's like, do I know you? And I'm like, you're the same cop who arrested me the first time. And so he's like, let me search your car. So he searches my car, and I'm like, there's nothing in it because my mom had the car. I had just gotten out. There's nothing in my car. And he said, put your hands behind your back, and he arrested me. And I said, what are you arresting me for? He said, I'm going to save your life. In those exact words, I didn't know at the time that I had just prayed to God, asking him to save me. So there was a bogus charge, and he said that I had stuff in the car. I really did not have anything, guys. So I went to jail. I went back to jail, and my bail was revoked, and I got sent to ISF. I was gone a total of 10 months. The whole time locked up, I gave my life to the Lord and went to any Christian classes I could. I had 2 visions while I was locked up, that I was supposed to go to like a church camp, and I was supposed to be still and be quiet. I thought I was supposed to go to like this monk camp. And I was like, oh my God, I'm supposed to go to this monk camp. And I'm like, oh my gosh, I don't know what that is. You know, and then And then my second vision, that I was going to be speaking at a football field in front of all these people. Those two visions is what I'm doing now. For one, I came to New Beginnings. It's a Christian ministry. And I'll tell y'all a little bit more about how I came here. But that was my vision. And my second vision was the football camp. No, that's here speaking to y'all. My vision's way out there, and this is like this. It's crazy. Okay. So when I returned home in November of 2016, hang on a minute. Before I came home, while I was locked up, my husband finished taking me for my divorce and took my children completely away. And he done drugs the whole time too. You know what I mean? But it hurt me that he took them completely away from me. I never seen them. So when I returned home in 2016, I was still lost and not sure how to get my life started again. I got to see my kids for 1 hour at my ex's house. Mind you, he is married to the woman he cheated on me with. This is one of the hardest things to do, was to see my kids at his house and them being a family. I knew I needed to fight and to humble myself. So I prayed, and then one day I knew I wanted more out of my life. And I was to go somewhere. So I looked up transitional homes, and Missy's number pulls up, like the first one. I called, and she picked up the first ring. Knowing Missy does not pick up her phone at the first ring. I didn't know that. I know that now. She picked up the phone. I poured my heart out to her and she asked me if I had looked her up. I said no. I just typed in transitional homes and your number popped up. It was the strangest thing, but she had said she had a bed for me and to come when I was ready. So I went and reported and told my probation officer what I wanted to do, and she said, if this is what you believe in, that this will help you, then you go for it. So Missy calls me again and asked me if I was coming, and I said yes. She asked me again, have you looked up New Beginnings? And I said no. I was following my heart for once, and I was following my heart for once and didn't need to look her up. So I packed my clothes, I got in my car with everything I owned, and left my hometown. I was putting my faith in the Lord. Just like Peter stepping out of the boat, I stepped out into faith with the unknown. It was the biggest gift I got. I was a little depressed and unsure about myself. I was broken from my childhood to my marriage to my kids to even me coming out of prison. I kept hearing the older women saying, use this time to find out who you are. Well, I did that. I was searching myself and actually finding out who I am. I didn't really grasp what the Lord was doing for me until December 17th of 2017. When we were at a Christmas party, and Missy, this is the hard one, and Missy had some blocks with the words, and none of us knew what we had gotten until we had opened them. My word. My word was healed. Those words made me, Lord, help me, Lord Jesus. Help me! Those words made me feel so overwhelmed by emotion because my whole life I felt broken, ashamed, not loved, and all I wanted was to be healed by all the pain, addiction, everything. So when I saw that word, I truly knew I was healed. God saved me, and I finally felt loved and welcomed and not alone. I was actually feeling Him. So while at New Beginnings, I drove 2.5 hours to see my kids for 1 hour. I promised myself that I was going to do whatever I could to prove to them and to myself that I could be a better mother and a better daughter. Ooh. I would drive to their games, their events, anything that I could. I would go to any church functions while at New Beginnings to do whatever I could to be a better person. I truly wanted to find me and be the better person. Coming to New Beginnings was a blessing that God gave me. So in July of 2018, I moved back home to be closer to my kids. As of yesterday, I got joint custody of my children. I still have a long way to go, but that's a blessing, and I want each one of these ladies here at New Beginnings to please use this opportunity to find out who you are